Hey, what's happening, y'all? What's happening? It's your boy Willie Beam back in the building. Just want to thank y'all, man, for tuning in to another episode of Mirror Check. Please visit our YouTube channel, Mirror Check Podcast. While you are there, do me a favor, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, please share our content so we are able to have a greater impact, man, across the world. Also, go follow our social media handles, our Instagram, at Mirror Check Podcast, Twitter at Mirror Check _ and also TikTok at Mirror Check _. Also, to stay connected to us, to our Mirror Check Podcast for latest events, please visit our website at www.checkyourmirror.com, where you can purchase exclusive products, listen to all our episodes of our podcast, and subscribe for latest news and releases. And we got some great things in store for y'all, great things on the way. And so with that being said, man, if you're the one that's always pointing the finger at someone else, that means that your mirror is dirty. So what I would advise you to do is take a step back, reflect, and check your own mirror. Peace. Hey, what's going on, y'all? What's happening? It's your boy Willie Beeman back in the building, man. Pray you guys are doing well, having a great day on today, man. We have another great fire episode for you guys. Just want to kind of give you guys a recap on what we talked about in our previous episodes, going through our Breaking Generational Cycles series. We talked about credit repair, how people can fix their credit and greater their credit for the greater good. We talked about the mortgage industry with my brother Chris Winston, giving guys those nuggets and those tips on how to go through the home buying process and becoming a homeowner. And so now with this episode, man, we're going into the industry of financial services when it comes to life insurance and investments, teaching and helping you guys understand how to build wealth, for your family and leaving a legacy and an inheritance, man. So this episode here, I have none other to introduce somebody that I've been knowing, man, for quite some time. Here for like probably about the past 4 years, man. Met this guy via social media, man, because networking is key. So met this guy via social media, man, and then 4 years later, man, we've grown to be brothers. We've grown to be business partners. We've grown to be great men of valor and great men of influence. Just learning from this guy, the money game, man. Teaching me the money game, and so that I can do the same thing and bring value to our community. And so none other, man, I would like to introduce someone who's a role model, someone who's a leader, someone who's a brother, someone who's a leader in his own right, a father in that sense, and just doing what he's supposed to do. And so I would like to introduce no one other than Rigel Mathis.
What's up? I appreciate that, Will. That was good. That was a good intro for me, huh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
So I kind of want to, before we get into the life insurance and investment industry, I know you're skilled in that area and you have the license to do so. Before we get into it, I kind of want you to share with the people just about who you are, as a person, sharing your journey and your upbringing and stuff like that. And so kind of share with the people, what was your childhood like growing up, man?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So I'm the youngest out of 8.
Okay.
7 from my mom and my dad. My dad had one before. And so I grew up in a household with a lot of people. We had a lot of animals in there. We had some dogs in there.
Right.
So overall we were raised to be different. If you look at all of our names is unique, something different. We were raised as vegetarians. We were raised as, people to basically have tolerance for all the religions and know about all that different stuff. And,
Right.
We basically had, stuff like that. We're open in that case.
Right.
And so as I grew up, you start seeing and putting your own opinion together, and ended up, with me playing soccer, I was exposed to a lot of different things. And so I always talk about I'm black with a beard, but I played soccer all my life.
Right.
And I was always with other people, because of the strain of soccer with like the traveling and all that different stuff.
Yeah.
With me being, my dad being an entrepreneur or being in sales for a majority of his career.
Right.
Stuff like that. But either way, my upbringing, youngest out of 8, all these different things with us, played soccer. That was how I made it. So, yeah.
Okay. So I guess, what would you explain, or how was the relationship, having all those siblings in the household? How was it? How was it like?
So for me, I was an oopsie baby. So they were like, "Oh, we can still do that." That was basically how it was.
Okay.
And so everybody else, it was 3 boys, 3 girls. The oldest is a girl, and then it was 3 boys, 3 girls with us, and then it was me. So
Okay.
I'm 6, almost 7 years younger than my youngest sister.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it was like, oh, we still do that, huh? You know. And so everybody else went to school together. Everybody else played a sport together. They did something, so they had a really close relationship in that case.
Right.
For me, I was kind of like sheltered and kind of like left out of everything in a sense. Not like a super negative thing. It's not something like that, but it was just, you know, they're like, he's the young one. Don't tell about everything that's going on, you know, like the real stuff. So, but it was always nice having a bunch of siblings, you know, people that you could talk to and learn from and all that different stuff. We grew up poor. So, you know, with us, we shared rooms, shared beds, and, you know, all that stuff for a very long time. It wasn't until middle school, 13, 14, maybe 15, when I had my own room, you know, own bed, own space, you know, stuff like that. And so, but yeah, that was all that.
Okay. I guess in that sense, like I said, I've been knowing you for the past couple of years, and I know you've grown as a person and as a man. And so, what would you say in that sense? I know you have children. You know, you in the process, you know, pursuing a career as becoming a professional soccer player. Powerful testimony. So in that sense, I know you had 2 children. So how was it like trying to manage raising those children in the pursuit of that soccer career?
Yeah. So I had my oldest, Gabrielle. I had her at 19. And then 2 years later, I had my son, Mason. So my first son. So by 21, I'm in college. I'm under scholarship. So I got basically a full ride to Oklahoma Christian University. And it was for sports. You know, some was academic. But overall, it was, you know, I was there. And in the process, ended up having 2 kids. And I could have easily had, you know, quit. You know, a lot of people, when they end up having kids in college, they end up quitting, or they scale back, or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But for me, I was there for soccer.
Right.
So with me having certain provisions already on the campus, it made sense to just grind it out. So I always took 15 to 17 hours. I had multiple, you know, part-times, you know, whatever. Worked at the fitness center, worked at McDonald's, worked at Walmart, you know, bringing those things up. But, you know, basically with having, you know, 2 kids, it made it to where it exposed me on the aspect I was inconsistent. I would go to class when I wanted to. My mom allowed me that. You know, back in high school,
right?
We'd be able to, hey, if your grades are up, you don't got to go to class. You know what? You know, basically that was how my mom was. And so when I got to college, I kept that same type of mentality. If I didn't have to go to class, I'm doing well, I'm not gonna go. And that bled into other stuff. Right. That bled into, you know, I'll call in, it's whatever, or I'll do my work if I feel like it, or I'll train if I feel like it. And so with me being inconsistent, with the kids, it showed me, look, you gotta get a schedule, you gotta get a routine, you gotta get these things so that you can, you know, get everything finished in a timely manner. So with the kids, it actually made me grow up, especially with my daughter. Right. You know, being a young dude and having a girl first. All those learning curves that you had to have and go through there. So, but yeah, the kids definitely made me grow up. And they made me better in my sense.
Right. Exactly. Especially when it comes to having, you know, a daughter, man. That's a whole different ball game. Having a young daughter and trying to raise them in the world that we're in. So I definitely, you know, watched you, you know, in your resilience and, you know, trying to do that and get that done. And so I guess in that sense, what inspired, man, your journey in when it came to soccer? Was it the family members? Was it someone that you watched? Where did the inspiration come from?
It was just looking for something that caught my interest, but also looking for somebody that looked like me.
That's good.
When I'm watching, you know, ESPN Sports Center back then, right? I was obviously too short for basketball. I mean, you can try and do it, you know, having fun with it and, you know, whatever. My dad wouldn't let me play football. I was actually kind of decent. You at a young age where we just play like, flag or two touch or whatever.
Right.
Before it got to tackle, and he was like, nah, I had too many people that got hurt. So you take off a couple of options, and then you come down to the next thing that you see at school with soccer.
Yeah.
In the neighborhood that I was in, they're playing soccer. I'm like, okay, I'll try it out, and I was kind of decent with it. So that basically is why I ended up staying with soccer. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a good story.
Oh, I didn't bring it up. So the reason why, the people that I saw Kobe Jones first. So anybody that played backyard soccer, backyard basketball, backyard baseball, any of those sports games, those PC or PlayStation games, whatever. Kobe Jones was the first one. He was a U.S. player.
Oh, wow.
And then Thierry Henry. He was a French player, played over in England, played over in Spain, and all that different stuff. But I saw them, and they were the ones that made me say, I want to play this sport. I want to do this. I want to be like them.
Okay. That's good stuff. I always find inspiration from other people that's in that field and push you in that journey. So kind of scale back a little bit, kind of go into a little bit more detail of your college experience, man, and what you gained from that, how that helped you as a person.
The good thing about college is that I went to school out of state, so I didn't have my parents or my siblings to kind of like fall back on.
Right.
I was out there by myself. I mean, it was just a state away. It's 4 hours away. It wasn't that big of a deal, but when you're out there by yourself, 18, 19 years old, you either gonna rise to the occasion or you gonna go right back home and figure it out. So when I was there, I think me learning dedication and consistency was really what I got from school. A lot of the people out there didn't have the same schedule, the same workload on their plate, because I had full-time athlete. We had preseason, so we were there before everybody.
Yeah.
When it was postseason, we had more training. We would have I would have to be up early before 5:30, to go lift weights, and then I still had the same school day as everybody else.
Right,
and then
right.
I would have practice after that at the end of the day, and then I would have lunch, and then I can start my schoolwork.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so with all of that stuff, it definitely taught me how to. You don't really necessarily multitask, but I got decent, with stuff like that. So it definitely showed me how to be consistent, get it done, and work hard like that.
Okay, so what were you in school for? What was the majors and the minors in school?
So with my bachelor's, I got a bachelor's of science in sports wellness and management. I could go the sports therapy route, or I could go the management route, the admin side. And so what I ended up doing, got my bachelor's, and I actually studied for my master's in business for a period of time.
Right.
After seeing that I didn't need it, I stopped. But it was a excelled class or a schedule, so everything was condensed.
Right.
So you're supposed to get done in a year for the master's. I went about halfway through, and then because I was at a Christian university, they basically made us study theology and all those different things. And so biblical studies, you could say I had a minor, but I ain't got nothing on paper to say it.
Right.
It ain't no big deal, but yeah.
Okay, so I guess we're pursuing that business journey. Did that push you and want to get into more of the entrepreneur type space?
Yeah.
Learning the area?
So I basically ended up getting some, I think I listened to a sermon by Mark Driscoll back in the day.
Yeah.
And he was talking about King David, and going into more about the admin side, that being a king was more about business.
Right.
Being a leader and being responsible and all those different things. So when I was studying that or listening to that, that's when the master's in business, came up. Like I was like, maybe I should start studying my master. Maybe I should start studying business,
right?
And go about it that way. But yeah, it was just, whatever with that.
Okay, cool. So I guess being in the entrepreneur type space and you being in the financial services industry, what led you into getting involved in that industry?
Okay, so at the period of time, aiming to go professional in soccer.
Right.
Just graduated. Just graduated from college. I'm 21, 22. Had some opportunities. some fell through. You know, things are, kind of on hold for this period of time. The summer of 2014, 2015, right?
Right.
And so in that case, I was looking to get into soccer, couldn't get in there, so I still had to work in the meantime, still had bills and stuff like
Take
that.
care of home. Yeah.
So I was actually a janitor at the time, working at my school. That was the opportunity that was given to me, after after getting your bachelor's degree. That was the job I landed.
Right.
So the opportunity came to me on a part-time basis to just, gain a couple licenses, be able to help families with their biggest issue, which is money.
Yeah.
And so in that case, I saw the big picture. I saw a bigger vision with everything. Dealing with money, there's always going to be a need for what we do.
Yeah.
And then I thought of the aspect of helping people.
Yeah.
And I mean, you get that aspect from being at a Christian school and all those different things. And so what I ended up doing, taking all those things, took that opportunity to get a license and get into the financial services industry.
Right.
And definitely capitalize on it. Kind of went about it that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember hearing here recently, when it comes to, I guess, being in business and being an upcoming entrepreneur, the more you see somebody or certain people complain about a certain thing, you just take that thing and turn it into a business. Or the more problems you can solve, the more people you can bring value to. Right. So that's definitely something I've heard when it comes to being in the entrepreneurship space. And so me knowing you, man, I know you have a diversified licenses. So share with the people, man, the licenses that you carry and how you can bring value with the licenses that you have.
Okay, so the first license I got was a life insurance license. So general lines, license with Texas Department of Insurance.
Right.
There. So have my life insurance license there. Then I have 5 investment licenses. I was grandfathered in for the SIE. Got the Series 6, 63, 26, and the 65.
Right.
And then I have the mortgage license, MLO, the mortgage loan originator license as well. And the aim was to be a one-stop shop.
Right.
Basically for anything dealing with finances, I could be that person that go-to. And then with my office, being able to train them, help them get, licensed as well. Just being more places than one. So that was the whole idea.
Okay. So, it almost goes back to, you think about, one of the fast growing chains of Walmart. It's a one-stop shop. You can go there and get food. You can go there and get clothes. You can go there and get cars now. You get your nails done. You get all these different things in one place to make it convenient and affordable, for the consumer that's partaking in that company. And so kind of, what you're in, having to diversify licenses, being able to help people in more places than one, and making sure that you're putting together a great wealth strategy that fits their financial goals. And so kind of get a little bit more deep into the meat and potatoes of this industry. I kind of want you to share with the listeners, man, and explain the purpose of buy term and invest the difference.
Okay. So when you say buy term invest the difference, we're talking about buy term life insurance.
Right.
Buy a lot, with a lot of coverage. So when you're dealing with term life insurance, it's inexpensive.
Right.
The cheapest kind available out of the life insurance. And so you're able to afford a lot of coverage. And so you want to make sure that you got enough for it to cover your income. You also want to cover enough for your consumer debt, your mortgage, your house. If you're paying on a car, be able to have that paid off in a premature death.
Right.
Then also, even if the goal for the house is to go to college, 529 plans, and stuff of the sort like that. So the term life insurance should engulf all of that.
Right.
And so in United States, it's a shortage. There's $500,000 of coverage gap. That's how much they need. That's not what they have.
Exactly.
So if something was to, if they were to pass, the breadwinner or the spouse, the one that's helping, because most households are both working.
Right.
So in that case, if either one were to pass away, it'd be a devastation
to the family,
financially devastation.
Right.
So that's the life insurance. Now the invest the difference part is paying yourself first. That's putting your money into investment accounts. There's a bunch of different kinds for a bunch of different reasons, but typically what we're saying is what a whole life like plan or a whole life policy is doing is term life insurance and savings account put together. We're just saying the same thing with buy term invest the difference, just separating the two. That's really it.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay, that's some nuggets right there. That's some gems. To kind of get a little bit more, and I guess in the investment side, helping people understand that. why should people build a diversified investment portfolio alongside their life insurance? What's the importance?
Okay, so to start with that, I'm strongly for term life insurance.
Right.
I'm completely against any kind of whole life insurance.
Right.
So I wouldn't have that a part of a portfolio at all. That's where I stick to. That's what I coach on when I'm putting wealth strategies together. So we got the term life insurance. That's the foundation to the house.
Exactly.
If you even wanted to talk about scripture about building your house on rock rather than on sand, you want to make sure that you have enough coverage before you start investing. Now, when you get into investing, it takes time.
Right.
And so, money's best friend is a high interest rate and time.
And time, exactly.
And so, in that case, I don't want to start investing for a client or for a family and they don't have enough life insurance.
Yeah.
And in that case, if somebody passes away, because we're going to pass away at a time we don't know, and now they lost all these different things. The average widow, the 80% of widows end up in their first 5 years having to downsize,
right,
having to give up stuff. So in that case, the life insurance has to be there, has to have enough. And then when we have the portfolio for investments, it's for a bunch of different reasons. We want to have emergency funds.
Right.
We want to have that to where you got 3 to 6 months of your monthly expenses. We want to have that placed over to the side. When COVID happened, the stimulus check was needed for a lot.
Right.
But if we had put that money into an investment account, just had some reserves, then it wouldn't have been such a need for everybody.
Exactly.
And then, anything short-term, mid-term goals, but then retirement. Retirement has to be funded by us. Social Security's not going to be there. We believe Social Security's not going to be there. And then a lot of companies have done away with pensions. And so in that case, what you going to do? Retirement is not an age, it's a certain amount of money
that you need.
And in that case, if I want to make sure that I can retire and retire comfortably, not having to go work, but if I want to work, then I can. I got to make sure that my retirement portfolio is taken care of. So I got to have all those things in place to make sure everything's good.
Yeah, kind of going back to what you were saying, retirement is not an age, it's a certain amount of money. You could be 65, but if you all got is $20K, that's not going to allow you to retire comfortably and live a happy life. Exactly. and move forward in your goals and dreams financially. And so definitely important, man, when it comes to retire. You can retire at 35, you can retire at 40, you can retire at, a different age. And so definitely key when it comes to making sure those investments are in place, for that family. So going alongside that, for the investment client, do they have the option or options of tailoring their portfolio to fit their financial goals?
Oh, of course. I mean, each client is different. Each client, when I'm meeting with them, some people single. Yeah. Some people have kids, but they're still single. There's people that are married, with kids, whatever it may be. Every household is different.
Right.
And so what we would want to do is make sure that we're fitting something within their budget, being able to get everything that they need at an affordable price.
Right.
And then working from there. Because, as we're paying off debt, then now we're in a case to where, we can put more aside for our own investments, our own portfolio, paying ourselves first. I got to reiterate that. Paying ourselves first. When we pay a bill that's going to another financial institution,
that makes sense.
It's making somebody else rich. We got to pay ourselves first. And so when we're doing all these different things, it's going to set up the next generation perfectly. It's going to take care of you, and it's going to take care of the next gen.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. So in that, still in that investment vein, could you kind of share with the listeners, I guess, the difference between traditional IRA and a Roth IRA? What's the difference?
IRAs, they stand for individual retirement account. And so the two different kinds, we got the traditional and we got the Roth. And so with the traditional, it grows tax deferred.
Right.
Just meaning you're not paying taxes now, you're going to pay taxes in the future. And so with the idea there, you're able to, when you're pulling income, we're typically going to think that you're no longer working.
Right.
And so your income tax is lower. And so that was the benefit from there. But then you also could write off any of your contributions into your traditional IRA. That was the benefits of the traditional IRA.
Right.
The Roth IRA, it grows after tax. So after taxes, it's tax free.
Right.
And so that's the benefit of having that Roth IRA. Now you can't write it off, can't write whatever you put into that account. You can't write off the income or write off the contribution amount. But not having to pay taxes to the IRS is always nice. So in that case, you get that benefit as well. So IRAs are something that anybody that has earned income can do. And so I always talk about, hey, everybody should have an IRA. Anything that you need should be outside of the job. Anything additional should be on. So everybody talks about having a company 401k or, a pension plan there. That's wonderful, but it's in the company's hands.
Right.
And they'll make the decision if they want to do away with it or not. And so you got to make sure that you take care of yourself. And so having the IRA, whether it's the traditional or the Roth, you want to have both. Or you want to have something in that case. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Instead of just leaving it up to your employer.
Right. Okay, so kind of going back to the, I guess the foundation which you were referring to, which is life insurance, making sure that's the foundation of financial home. What would be the determining factors when it comes to the monthly premium for the client? 'Cause I know people be like, well, life insurance is expensive. I can't afford it. I don't know what my budget is. So kind of hit on that.
So to start with, term life insurance is already the cheapest version, the most inexpensive version. I don't like using cheap, but the most inexpensive version.
Yeah.
And so already there, that idea can already be just thrown out. So then now that we're dealing with, the cost, dealing with the premium, cost of insurance is dealing with the health of the person and the age of the person.
Right.
So what I'm preaching to people is that they need to get a policy when everything's good. When you don't think you need it.
Makes
when
sense.
You're single and don't got no kids.
Right.
When you're young and everything's all good, all that type of stuff. That's when I'm telling you to get a policy, because you're locking in those better rates.
Right.
What I would always say, if you can afford it, everybody should have $1 million policy. I had $2 million. I had $1 million on my business policy and one on my personal policy. So God forbid something happened to me before retirement, but in that case, my family's going to be taken care of. If I make it, then my investments are going to be set up to have $2 million plus. And so, those are the different things with that. But when I'm sitting down with the client, I'm working it out to where if this comes out, it's not a problem.
Yeah.
That's what we want to do, where it can keep coming out. Because life insurance normally gets the boot, the kick.
Yeah.
When stuff is getting down to that last little bit, like, I don't know if I can pay this bill or that bill, life insurance is out.
Yeah.
Well, it's just because we're not required to have it, but that's the most important type of insurance out of all of them.
Yes, sir.
Because nothing else is more valuable than your money making capabilities, and so that's where life insurance is coming in. It's really income protection. But either way, yeah, every client that we're sitting down with, we're setting up something that's fitting in their budget. Make sure that if it comes out, everything's good. And then going from there, as we pay off certain debts, we pay off the car. That's $500 plus car payment, insurance $200 plus, for that as well.
Yeah.
Anything else outside of the debt, aspect of it, we're throwing it right back into the investment side. So yeah.
Right. Definitely hit it on the money, man. I believe life insurance is one of the most important insurances when it comes to us properly protecting our family. At the end of the day, without having that foundation of life insurance, you're not able to pay off the house, you're not able to pay off the car, you're not able to pay off the debt or these other insurances that you have. And so I definitely agree with you on that, man, making sure that life insurance is the foundation. And not only that, having an adequate amount, of coverage, for the family, making sure that they're properly protected. And so kind of put a wrapper on this, man. You gave some nuggets, you gave some gems, man, to the listeners, in this industry, man. You have a powerful testimony and leading up to allowing God to come into this industry and bring value to other families and those that are connected to you. And so this part here is what we call our mirror moments. Something that God gave me, man, just laying down in the bed, man, just allowing me to reflect and basically taking a look in the mirror as individuals and say, what can I do as Willie, or what can I do as Rigel to be better and thrive and grow in the areas that he's calling me in. And so for you, man, kind of share with the listeners your mirror moments. You might have one, might have two, you might have three. Kind of share with them, those moments in your life where you have to sit back and reflect and like, man, I got to make some changes. I got to be better. So what were those moments?
Okay. So one that comes to mind is about being a good man. I believe God was showing me that back in 2013, 2014.
Yeah.
Was talking about, are you a good man? What's in your heart? And so in that case, he took me through a lot of different life experiences that I'm not sure if I didn't have a Christian background in that case, if I would have answered the way that I answered, responded the way that I responded. Some of these words would have flown out a little bit more aggressively towards the people back in it. It would have been just a little bit different had I didn't have Christ's example. And so the first thing was dealing with the heart, and making sure that I had a heart, at least attempting to be like God's. Treating people how you want to be treated. Making sure that if I'm speaking out words, I'm speaking words of positivity or of life, rather than killing people with my words and being overly disrespectful and all those different things. Holding, figuring out anger, in that case, still dealing with the heart, still dealing with how things are affecting you and what you're thinking about. So anger was something that, I definitely had to deal with, and so going from those, dealing with being a good man, that part is the first thing that I had to have that mirror moment. Like, am I responding like Christ would?
Ooh, that's good.
Am I responding like him?
Yeah.
Because in that case, he went through so many different things. Like even with, I was just reading the last few chapters in Matthew where he knew who was gonna betray him.
Right.
He said, "When are y'all gonna betray me?" And even for Judas to say, "Is it I?" Already knowing that he was, in that case, already in his heart, and he still called him friend. He still, he still accepted him to come up and kiss him on the cheek and say, "Hey, friend, how are you?" And in this case, he's like, "Just go on and get it done. Go on and come do what you say that you're gonna come do." But either way, in that case, it was just like you see him dealing with how friends could turn on you or family could turn on you, and anything like that, and still he was good.
Yes.
And so in my case, it's like I didn't have to deal with nearly what he had to deal with. And if he can still respond that way, he was still a man, at the end of the day, still, I could work on myself in that case. So that was one of those things. But the other thing was about consistency.
Yeah.
I keep saying it. It's just because the whole thing is that you can give excellence, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're consistently doing that.
That's good.
You can bring that every once in a while, and it's kind of cliche to say that hard work beats talent when talent's hardly working, all that different stuff. But it's true. It's legit. It's like you can't tell me that you worked out one day and then you took off the rest of the week and expect to get the same results. It just doesn't work that way.
Nah.
And so we can easily see that in working out, but why can't we see that in any other area of our lives?
Yeah.
So in that case, it was just I was inconsistent with just reading habits, sleeping habits, following up with clients, just all those different things. And so I just had to get serious about it. About just if I say I'm gonna do something, actually at least attempting to get it done. We're not perfect, but in that case, at least give the effort to get it done. And so things like that. God has continuously revealed different things that I thought was okay. I'm thinking is all right, but it's coming off to other people like, man, you ain't disrespectful, man. What's wrong with you? And so just being open to hear from God, and allow him to instruct you, even though you may think it's all gravy, everything's cool, but in this case, you need to heed to the Spirit. You need to listen to the Holy Spirit on what he's trying to tell you. So those are a couple things that came to mind. No specific story.
Right.
Yeah, not yet, at least. I don't know.
Yeah. Definitely going back to what you were saying, giving an example of Jesus when it came to Judas betraying him. And it takes a certain level of maturity, man, in order to know that this person's getting ready to betray you, and also knowing in the back of your mind that I still have to love this person in spite of what they're doing, in spite of how they treat me, and in spite of the words that they use, in spite of the backlash or the rejection. I still have to love this person, you know, in regards to, you know, what they've done to me, and man. So that's definitely something I can attest to, you know, as a man. A lot of stuff that I've dealt with in my life, you know, having to, you know, respond in a different way. You know, how would, you know, I remember the wristbands we used to wear. What would Jesus do?
Yeah, right.
You know, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But now when you following Christ and you're growing in that relationship, you really have to look back and say, okay, what would Jesus do?
Yeah.
In this moment, how will he respond?
Yeah.
You know, is he reactive or is he proactive?
Yeah.
And so there's definitely some nuggets that you've dropped, man, concerning your story, concerning, you know, your journey with Christ, your journey in business, your journey as a father, and the things that God has allowed you to come upon, man. So I appreciate the time, man. I appreciate the words of wisdom. I appreciate the knowledge, man. I appreciate everything that you've shared with the listeners, and you just being you and being authentic and being real in business and relationships, and also, you know, the industry that you're in. And so, man, I appreciate the time, and next episode, we'll see y'all soon.
Yeah, so I'm heavy on social media. So I'm on Facebook, and it's just the name Rigel Mathis. You're not gonna find too many other Rigel Mathises. You Rigel like Nigel, but with an Rigel. Mathis like the judge. And so Facebook, I'm on there. Instagram, I'm on there. I got two profiles for Instagram, but you'll find me, yellow background. Go on and find me on there. I've got on TikTok. I'm still working on that one. So y'all go follow me on there as well. But overall, we're out here in Texas, but we can do Zoom with just about anybody. And so don't want to limit it to just Texas, but that's where our brick and mortar building is. But overall can meet with just about anybody via Zoom. So always do free wealth seminars, you know, doing free one-on-ones as well, just to get them the information so that they can make the decision. We want to make sure that we're not talking over their heads, right, and making them feel some type of way. But, you know, overall, that's why we're able to just meet with just about anybody across the United States via Zoom, or if you're in Texas, you know, come swing by. But yeah.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate, you know, your time. I appreciate you sharing those nuggets, man, how people can reach you. And so we'll see y'all on the next episode. Peace.
Y'all be safe, stay prayed up, and always check your mirror. What's good? It's your boy Ishmael. I want to thank you for tuning in to another episode of Mirror Check Podcast. We will be launching new content on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, Deezer, Transistor, any platform that you can listen to on podcasts. Best believe we are on it. We'll be launching new content every Wednesday at 12 p.m. noon Central Standard Time. In the meantime, do me a favor and follow us on Instagram at Mirror Check Podcast, on Twitter, Mirror Check _, and go please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Mirror Check Podcast. Also, go to our website, www.checkyourmirror.com, to support and purchase new products. Remember, if it's always someone else's fault, your mirror is dirty. Until next time, check your mirror. Peace.